Hey guys, how you doing? This is Rick. I'm coming at you from Key West, Florida, on a beautiful Friday evening. It was a really hot day today, but how beautiful it turned out to be. Well, before I go out karaokeing, I thought I'd give you a quick little lesson. I keep, it's like I'm driving home this idea that most of what we are taught in the Bible as being real. It's basically a myth written around certain sciences that deal with the mind and the body. And it's a kind of cosmic, because we know that, I know that these stories are well over 6,000 years old. And so it's a really beautiful, wonderful kind of science that's wrapped up in a fleshy sense, which is what I would say, the Word made flesh. It's a personification of what goes on inside of you, and it's told in a kind of like a riddle or a story manner that comes about through, the writing that we could see with our eyes. They call it the letter, but it's also, there's some symbolisms, so a symbolic way of writing these things which hide information. And of course, we are told in the Bible that we're supposed to read it by its spirit and not by the letter. But you have to read the letter in order to find out what the spirit is. So, one comes first. You got, like us, we're skin, and skin is wrapped around the spirit. So, to know that there are two sides to every story should not really be like, it shouldn't freak you out. And it also shouldn't kind of be like, oh wow, how could these ancient people have so much knowledge, Well, it just so happens to be that that's the way it is. And if you catch the way that it's going is that, man is actually degenerating or devolving, especially when, in this day and age, and for at least the last 2,000 years, people actually believe in the allegory of Adam and Eve. Everyone thinks that the whole world started from these two white European people in a garden somewhere and fucked it up for the rest of us. That takes some really heavy thinking, and belief, talking snakes and talking donkeys and stuff like that. But in my channel, I try to tell you that, this is all symbolic, whereas, in the world around us outside, in mankind, the rules are, you're not supposed to read anything into this. You're supposed to read just what you see. Don't go any further. And if you do, trouble's going to happen, And we know when they really even had this word for centuries. It was just kept from them. And then those people that made and brought the word to the people were executed, all right? Except for this King James, the King James Bible. He did a great job at capturing all the beautiful words that it takes to remember and to have all this information stored. This is where it says that, his word will live on forever and ever, because once they find out, once whoever it is actually, if they found out what I was doing, they would start changing it, and that's what they've done. The new versions of the King James Bible has been simplified so that you can't catch these words. Like the word man laying with mankind is not going to save you. So, but if they have man and man in the new, it's mono. Now you got your gay text, Whereas they've been calling the other one gay text, but I can call them out on. Mankind is not mano mano, You're not man on man. It has absolutely nothing to do with the homosexual life, And I blow that right out of the water. All right? It's the truth. But people want to hold on to this. So, even if the whole world still believes in it, it doesn't make it the truth. All right? I've made this. I'm telling you, this is what it is, And the Bible tells me that. But anyways, I think I can get on. I'm talking about the 10 Commandments today to show you that this is not really about people so much as it is about a person, an individual, okay? And it talks right off the bat, and let's see if I can go on. I tried to write it down on my own. And it just, 10 Commandments got to be forever, Oh no, but so I'm just going to read it because we believe it's only this long in the Bible. So I'm good. So let's try to get through this together. All right. It's chapter 20 in Exodus. It says, "And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt and out of the house of bondage." Okay, just right off the bat, I am. Who's God? I am. If you just say I am, and you just take am. Am is like, a present sense. It's the I, just plain I. So it's really saying the single I is God. The single I. If I have to go really deep in this, but that's really what it means. I am, and another word is me. All right, which is me. They're really talking about you. And in the Bible, it tells you that, didn't I tell you that you are God's? And Lord God, and Jesus himself says, why call me Lord, Lord, and not do as I say? So, even Jesus is sharing this symbolic word for us, okay? That's why he says that you shall not have any other gods before me, all right, before me. Again, it's a singular. This they're really saying keep it to yourself, all right? The single I, it's about you. It's really about you. So let's keep on going. Let's make sure we keep this up. I'm using both what's real and what I wrote about it. It says, thou shalt not take unto thee graven images or any likenesses of heaven above and beneath and the water and all that stuff. Okay. An engraven image happens to be with something that you have created to look like God from the outside, or to give some kind of praise where you are looking and bowing down, which is the next part of this, not to bow down to these people or these things, not to serve them in any way. But it's really talking about the outside, and you're going to catch this again. This is mankind. Don't build any kind of idol. This is something outside of yourself to look at. He wants you to look inside. Many of the abominations in the Bible that are in the Old Testament have to be with, look at the women, with their weeping for Tammuz, and what that is this is the 40 days of Lent and all. That's actually an abomination because they're seeking outside of themselves again, and followed along with the Easter path, with the Sunday rising, and the money. This is the men with their backs towards the temple are watching the morning sunrise. And so what the abomination is that they are looking and worshiping something that's outside with their backs towards the temple. Do you understand it? So the whole idea is to go inside, So if you're new here, I'm sorry that I went through that. I mean, if you're old here, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so thou shalt not bow down before them, because that's just visiting the iniquities upon their fathers, upon their children, and this is made up of 7 that hate. This is the 7 children that hate me. This is talking about the hardened heart, and that for generation after generation, you pass on the outside of this Bible, and it hardens them. We're going to have to get past this one day. This is the way the story goes, is that, hey, you can be born this way, but you don't have to stay this way. All right, so this is about that unto the 3rd and the 4th generation. That's really 4 and 3, that's 7. That's when you're closed, when your chakra is closed. It isn't working. All right, it's on the male side. All this is about don't feed, don't take from, don't do anything with the left side. It's always that, It's not a personal saying. And then it says, and showing mercy unto the 1,000 of them that love me, and keep my commandments. If you really didn't know that this was actually where it began. This is now where the 10 Commandments start. But the 1,000 that love me, that's the one. That's the one with the oh. Those are the ones that, this is just, it's showing you that there's the left side and the right side. So he's showing mercy to those few and the one is actually the number there, and one is God. All right, and for an eternity, and those are the ones that love him. Those are the chosen ones. They wind up being the guys that are Jews. They are people that are inwardly, that not are outwardly, and those are few. Those are the few people. It's always been the few. So, all right. So it says, "And thou shalt take thy name, thy Lord, thy God, in vain." It says he won't hold him guiltless. He that taketh thy name in vain. All right. Now, thy name is I am. So, which is me. And if I say that I am unworthy, that I'm a worthless sinner, this is going against what the Bible says. You're not supposed to do this to yourself. You're not supposed to say you are. But this is what religion says you are, and they kind of, they're totally opposite. When you read the top side of this Bible and you command yourself to that top side of this information, you're going to kill things. And this is like, right off the bat, you're hurting something. And it's telling you next here not to kill, So it's really hard to really, kind of pin this down when people can believe what they see and be stuck to a physical representation of something instead of a metaphysical or spiritual sense, which is invisible through the writings of this. But I can't help but hear it now when I read it and whenever I hear it. I just can't help but see it and do that. All right, but anyways, let's continue on. I've given you the numbers bracket with you guys before. It says, and so here's thou shalt not take thy name in vain. Okay, and that means not to it's not God damn it. It's not Jiminy Cricket, gosh the dog, or doggone it, none of that. No. It's you hurting yourself, saying you are absolutely worthless, And I talked with some guy the other day, and he was talking about, I understand the idea about God being in me, but me being God, I just, no, and I said, and I said, oh well, therein lies your poverty, It's not that you are God, but the idea that, you harbor this God. You are, in a sense, like he says, we are, okay, yeah, we're the God, But it's not in a sense of like, ownership or leadership. It's more just of a connection, and having, good connections, is really a good idea, a good thing, to be that close to yourself and rely upon yourself in both intuition, wisdom, and health, Remember the Sabbath day and to keep it holy. All right, that's the Sabbath is the seventh chakra. When you finally get over there, this is the day of rest. And he goes on to talk about it. 6 days shall they labor, and it's talking about climbing up that chakra ladder and opening up one of those things one at a time. It takes a little bit of work. So that one day when you're finally ready to make this trip upwards, they just swing open one right after another, after another, after another. But, and I like to say that, the scriptures also say that come as you are, so you don't really have to have them all cleaned down. But you're making some effort, and this other side swings open. Remember, it's you. It's inside of you. So it's not like praying and hoping some God out there hears you and answers your prayer. He says, come inside here. I already know what you want, and so it's just an interesting way, that there's an outside way of doing things, and then there's an inside way of doing things, and that when it comes down to it, this is all really about the one person that's trying to raise his vibration, and all of us together become this wonderful battery charged by God. But it's not a group situation. I can't touch someone and give them what I know. I can teach you, like they say with fishing and stuff like that. I can teach you, and then you can go and fish this out of your brain yourself. That's pretty cool. I've done a lot of homework, and I don't mind sharing it with you. But remember the number 6. Oops, the number 6 in the book, or in the whole thing, was all about works. And remember, I was telling you, works is those things that you have to work on yourself. If you're a hateful human being, remember I said you just can't just run, jump, and skip over this wall and go into heaven. There's a little bit of work that's involved that becomes the disciple. Okay, and again, if this sounds like I'm repeating myself, it's because that's the way our Bible does. That's how you know it's the truth. Because it does repeat itself. You can constantly back check on it and see, hey, yeah, this makes sense here. So anyways, it says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days will be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Alright, so your birth, you got it. God, you say, yeah. Someone can say, God gave me my child. Okay, but it's our brains as we grow up, birth to who we are. That's mom and dad. That showed us who us are. You better honor them. That's mother and father. Remember we talked about this yesterday. Was otherwise it's your wife, and a man, and it's really animal, and your instincts to cling to your emotions. The lower emotions at that, So let's see what they say. Let's hear if any of that is in the 10 Commandments, you guys. Thou shalt not kill. Okay, that's actually about going outside. This is about divorce, because you die. It's actually, thou shalt not kill yourself. It's probably, why it's a sin that you're not allowed to kill yourself. All right. But the idea of taking any life in any way whatsoever really takes away from the soul. You talk to anyone who's ever shot someone and actually killed someone, that they've never been the same after that, But I'm not so sure that you can put this in as a literal situation. This is again about something that you do with yourself. All right, from the inside, and that kill would be like us. It would be a situation where you're doing something negative to something. You are, sending out a negative situation or a vibe of some kind that's a hurtful thing. Because even the word die doesn't mean die, it means to meditate. So there's a softer side to these darker languages. All right, and so here's thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay, that means, going out to someone else's wife. That means not doing your thing, going out. This is the homosexual text, about man going out in mankind. Mankind's not going to save him, only God. The combination of the two, Elohim, the left and right, bringing these two together is the only thing that will save us. All right? Thou shalt not steal. All right? I can't really tell that when there's ideas taking something from somebody else. We know that is. But what you already have is what they have. You want what they have. You want to have what you have. So it's like you're reaching out to get something that you don't have when you already have it. Reach, don't steal. You already got it. Don't take from the outside. You got plenty. Everything you need right inside. That's how it goes. It says, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Now that's interesting, because I know I told you the other day that this is your father. The left side of our mind is our father. It's our son. It's everything to do with male signs and things. So, but it's also the neighbor. All right. And so the neighbor is outside. So you don't want anything that comes from him, but you want to love him. But you don't want, let's see, what does it say? Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. You're going to get the guy in trouble. Eventually, what you're going to wind up doing is tricking him. You're going to trick him so that he falls asleep anyway. But what they're going to say here is, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou not covet thy neighbor's wife, which means, remember, if you give up your mother and father to cleave to your wife, you actually are giving up the higher side to embrace the lower. So you don't want to do the neighbor's wife. Do you understand? That's adultery and all kinds of stuff, But let me tell you, that's the outside of the Bible. But this is about using your lower mind over your higher mind, or living out of the lower side instead of connecting and bringing yourself into a higher mind with higher emotions, with higher aspects and higher thought. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbors, la da 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 la da la. And and that's it. That's the way it goes. That's the end of it. It has absolutely nothing to do with morals. My mother and father, I'm really glad I know them, because they created me. In a physical sense and a mental sense too, because I've wrestled with these two lower conscious people all my life, and I swore I wasn't a part of this family. I had to have been adopted, dropped off, found, or the milkman's little contribution to our family. But I looked a lot like my pa. I mean, almost a dead ringer for him as we're getting older, and so that kind of blows that. So, they're mine, I'm theirs. But I wouldn't change them for anything. There are people that have never met their moms and dads. And, and I would tell you that mine's beat the fuck out of me and all this. And I'd say, sometimes you'd better be glad you didn't know them. It's better that they weren't in your life. But anyways, you make do with what you got, And I would show you that... the I am is you. It's you. Don't hurt yourself. Don't treat yourself wrong. Don't make yourself into, I didn't go much into the story, but this guy who talked about, I wish I was God. It was like, I gave him the Zacchaeus story. I said, well, he's been told all his life that he couldn't hold God, that he was worthless. And this is about being little in stature, and not being able to make, to be worthy of it, to be able to have this inside of us, and it's been scared out of us. Called it self-worship and stuff, but this entire the Ten Commandments talks totally just of you, you, and it's a religion that's taking you away from you. And it does sound like I bash religion, but I actually just read the Bible correctly. And with the use of the knowledge that I have that's swaying forth from the E side of my brain, once I started using it, I see it everywhere and hear it very, very easily. And I just love to share it with people and to show them just how simple that is. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. You can't seek outside yourself. He doesn't want you to look outside. He just wants you to come inside. There's nothing crazy about this. There's nothing hocus pocus. It's all about the inner workings of our mind, and that we carry a way of taking care of ourselves. That the human being, if we wire ourselves correctly, can get everything that we need, basically, And it's not like you need to go out, you need a car, you need clothes and stuff like that. But if you have a habit that's, where you're always spending your money, or it's being stole, or you're in a position where it slips out your hands, well, maybe you would learn something from this universe of ours by going upstairs and checking out, and it would give you a whole nother set of ways of going about doing things. And that's all it is. That's all you can get from the divine side of God, is a clear mind and a clean body, and it purges the hell out of you. It cleans the effects of the world around you, which are those things that are hurting you and things like that. But it delivers you right back down into this world around us, and the world around us, it's kind of mean, hateful, and ornery and stuff like that. And so you're going to get dirty again, and you have to go back up for a bath. So it's once you do make it up there, you just keep going back and forth, and visit home, And you'll get busy and fall behind. They call it backsliding, Instead of going up your back, you're sliding down, But you know where home is. Just go back home every now and then. Don't give them up, And don't give up trying. You're not going to get any kind of, fanfare, trumpets are blowing and everything that they talk about in the Bible. But if you were to watch and to look to see what kind of beautiful things come about in your life because you've changed something changed in your life, something's different going on. Little things, you never know. Like I've stopped chewing my fingernails. It's been some time, but I really have enjoyed having nice nails and not chewing on them. But that means something inside, deep inside, was taken away from me. It's like an angst of some kind. You never know. I don't smoke, and I'm drinking less and less at karaoke and stuff. But these are things that I know hurt me and make me sick, and eventually they'll be gone, So anyways, trust in yourself, loving yourself. Don't believe in the outside scripture of the Bible. Even if they bring it alive, if they manifest the devil before our eyes. Don't believe it, Have the strength of the knowledge inside you and use this as your shield, that they say. That, once you believe in this and once you are on this side, you are stronger than most. And you can run off those things that are evil. They just can't help but hang out with you. They just don't hang. They don't like it. It makes you sick. And I know, because I made some people pretty sick sometimes. It's like eating warm pie on Thanksgiving. So good. You know it's good. But having a lot of it at one time can make you sick. So anyways, remember everything in moderation. I love you. Best to you guys. Remember, hold to those 10 commandments.